Today we're going to be learning about spatial thinking. Spatial thinking, looking at ways of thinking about locations, conditions, and connections. One way is spatial comparison. When we're thinking of spatial comparison, we're comparing one place that we know to another place. Some questions we might ask comparing places are the places the same or are they different? Does one place have more or less than another place? Here we can see in this map, this is a map of Chinese population, where are the most of the large cities located? So we can look on the map and see that the larger this shape gets, the more population they have. So we can find those large cities. Spatial aura. When we're looking to find places that have an influence over another place, we're using spatial aura. How does this place influence other places? Here we can see a factory. It's leaking out smoke. Is that pollution? Is it affecting the cities that are near it? Some questions we might ask ourselves. How does a big city influence nearby places? How does a body of water influence nearby places? Here we can see an example of aura. Why are there more highways around Columbia than Lexington? Okay, Columbia is a big city. Lexington's not as big. What kinds of businesses might grow up around a big city? These are spatial relations based on aura. Spatial region. So when we put similar places together in a group. So what places are near each other and are they alike in some way? Do they have similar conditions? Out Aiken and North Augusta. We're in the CRSA. Are there conditions or connections that make us a region? Do we have things that are similar? Here we can see language groups in South Asia. So do language regions coincide with country boundaries? So here you can see Turkic. That must mean Turkey is right here. Iranian, Iran must be right here. So they're bordering states. Spatial transition. This is when we're arranging places in a sequence. So questions we might consider. How do conditions change as we move along a journey? What comes earlier? What comes later? Is the change gradual or is the change abrupt? So some examples that we can find here is when we look at a climate map like this, how do conditions change as you travel from one place to the other? So if you're lucky to live down here in the southern areas, you're going to have warmer temperatures. And as you move up towards the Rocky Mountains, you're going to have frosty, snowy temperatures. Okay, so we can see how our conditions can change. Spatial hierarchy. This is when we put small places inside of large places. So here we have Moscow, a city inside the country of Russia, and then we have Russia, the country, inside the continent of Eurasia, or Asia more specifically. Some questions we ask when we're thinking of spatial hierarchy. Is a place a part of something larger? Is Aiken a part of something larger? Aiken County. What smaller pieces are inside a larger piece? Is a smaller river part of or connected to a larger river? Here are some examples of spatial hierarchy. Here we have South Carolina, Aiken County, Aiken, and our school. Put the following places in order from inside to outside. So inside being what's closest to you and the outside being more of a global. It's further away from you. So if we were to look at these here where the small red dot is, that would be us at our school, in our school. And then the next hierarchy would be our city, Aiken. And the next hierarchy would be our county, Aiken County. And the next hierarchy would be our state, South Carolina. This is a spatial hierarchy. Here we can see a hierarchy with waterways. So we can see big waterways leading to smaller waterways to leading to some like lakes and things of that nature. Spatial analogy. This is identifying places in similar positions. So Aiken is to the Hopeland Gardens and the Hitchcock Woods. So if you've been in Aiken long, I'm pretty sure you know where Hopeland Gardens is or the Hitchcock Woods. And if you're in North Augusta, you know about the Savannah River, and possibly now you know about the new SRP Stadium. These are things that are similar in position. This is spatial analogy. Questions we might ask when talking about spatial analogy. What features or conditions tend to occur in similar places or positions? As a result, do they have other features in common? So because they're in a similar place or position, do they have other things that would be alike? Here we can see the effect of snow. Why do places with similar locations have similar characteristics? So here you can see on the 5 lakes that there's lots of snow on each of the lakes. Spatial pattern. In spatial pattern, we're noting alignments, arcs, clusters, rings, any other arrangements that are not random. We're looking for patterns in geography. Are there any features that are arranged in a line or a cluster? Are the features spread out evenly versus randomly? Are the features spread out in a balanced way, or are they unbalanced with more on one side? Geographers are going to use these patterns to help them answer questions or even pose questions. Here we can see an example of a pattern. This is a mortality rate or ratio chart in the United States. So it is showing different figures of the mortality rate. And so we can use these clusters and different things to determine patterns of mortality. This is pattern. Here you can see a couple more. Population density. You can see all of the red dots here showing how dense it is. Okay, and then you can see here the deer population. That's been a problem here in Aiken. So you can see the areas that are being more affected by the population of deer. These are all graphics that are using pattern associations. Spatial association. This is when we note features that tend to occur together in the same place. What features or conditions tend to occur together? Why do they occur together? These are questions you would ask when you're considering spatial association. Why do some features usually occur together in the same places? So here you can see gas wells. Where all the purple dots are, those are all the locations for gas wells. Why are those commonly found together? And here you can see rock ages. Why do they occur together? What else occurs in these areas? So here we can see hurricane zones on the East Coast. This map is helping us answer this question or to observe this question and research this question. Why are the hurricanes happening here? What else occurs in these areas? What are the commonalities? How are they associated? And here in association, you can see why do some features really occur together in the same place? So why are the earthquakes happening in the same place? Why do we find volcanoes in the same place or the plate boundaries? What's the common thread that binds these things together that makes them associated? Right? These were the different ways in which we can think, spatial thinking.